The psychology of people who are always early for everything. You know that one person. The one who shows up to a party before the host has finished setting up. The one sitting outside the interview room 15 minutes before their slot. The one who boards a plane during the first call even though their seat will still be there. You might find them slightly annoying. You might secretly admire them. But have you ever stopped to wonder what is actually going on inside their head? Because being chronically early is not just a habit. It is a window into how a person thinks, feels, and relates to the world around them. What early arrival actually signals? Most people assume early birds are just overly cautious or a little uptight. But psychology paints a far more interesting picture. Research consistently links punctuality and early arrival to a set of personality traits that go much deeper than simply owning a good watch. People who are always early tend to score high in conscientiousness, one of the 5 core personality traits studied in psychology. Conscientious people are organized, dependable, and goal-oriented. They plan ahead not because they are anxious but because forward thinking is simply how their brain operates by default. They mentally simulate the future before it happens, which means they have already imagined the traffic, the parking situation, and the slow elevator before they even leave the house. But here is what makes it more layered. Early arrivers are also often driven by a deep respect for other people's time. For them, being late is not just an inconvenience. It is a moral statement. It says your time matters less than mine. And because they would never want to send that message, they build in buffer after buffer until being early becomes the only outcome they are comfortable with. Drop a comment right now and tell us, are you someone who is always early, always late, or somehow always exactly on time? Be honest, we are all curious. The anxiety angle nobody talks about. Now this is where it gets interesting. Not all early arrivers are calm, organized planners. A significant portion of chronically early people are actually driven by anxiety. For anxious early arrivers, the extra time is not about respecting others. It is about self-protection. Arriving early means the environment is under control before the event begins. It means they can scan the room, find a seat they like, regulate their breathing, and mentally prepare before anyone else arrives. The early arrival is essentially a coping strategy that has been so well practiced it now looks like a personality trait. This is why you will notice that many early people feel a specific kind of dread when something threatens to make them late. It is not mild frustration. It is a visceral, almost physical discomfort. Their nervous system has been trained to treat lateness as a genuine threat. If this is making you see someone in your life in a completely different light, share this video with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is hand someone a mirror. What it means for relationships. Being with an early person can feel either reassuring or exhausting depending on who you are. Partners and friends of chronically early people often report feeling a low level of pressure to always be ready on time. Early people rarely say anything, but their body language and subtle restlessness communicate volumes when someone is running behind. At the same time, early arrivers are often the most reliable people in anyone's life. They show up when they say they will. They follow through. They do not leave people waiting and wondering. In a world where flakiness has almost become normalized, that consistency is genuinely rare and deeply valuable. The hidden cost of always being early. There is a shadow side to this that early people themselves rarely acknowledge. Always arriving early requires a constant output of mental energy. The planning, the buffer time, the mental simulations all come at a cost. Early people often struggle to be spontaneous. They find it hard to just go with the flow because their brain is always running slightly ahead of the present moment. There is also a quiet resentment that can build up over time. When you always arrive early and others consistently do not, it begins to feel like a one-sided arrangement. Early people can start to feel undervalued or taken for granted, especially in professional settings where their reliability is simply expected rather than appreciated. If you are nodding along to this, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this kind of content reach the people who actually need to hear it. What you can learn from them. Whether you are someone who arrives early or someone who treats every departure time as a rough suggestion, there is something worth taking from this personality type. The habit of building buffer time is not about being rigid. It is about choosing to give yourself space rather than always scrambling. It is about treating the people in your life as worth the small effort of being present before the pressure starts. Arriving early is in many ways a quiet act of respect. Respect for others. Respect for the occasion. And perhaps most importantly, respect for yourself and your own peace of mind. The early ones are not strange. They are just operating with a longer view than most of us remember to take. And if that kind of insight is what you are here for, subscribe. We explore the hidden psychology behind everyday human behavior every single week. The next one might explain someone in your life better than they can explain themselves.